Hi, everybody, and welcome to episode 267 of Circle Up and Get Real, where we talk about things that matter with people who matter. And I am so thrilled today to introduce to you my friend Lori Ballen, who I met. Lori, I don't even remember. Do you remember how many years? Probably 2011. I met you, maybe?
Uh, yeah, probably. 2011 sounds about right. So what is that,
Man,
14?
do you do the math? I was told there'd be no
Yeah,
math. I don't know.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
14
about
years ago.
14 years.
Lifetime ago for me and for you, right?
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
So we met when we were both with Keller Williams, and you still are. You are still an agent. I was a team leader, and I remember seeing you talk and thinking, "This is somebody I want to get to know." And I felt kind of a little bit starstruck when I first met you. I was like, "Ooh, fangirling!" And we actually had a conversation in a restaurant or a bar where we ate together with Ashley Lunn and your husband at the time, Richard, who did balloon animals for us at the table.
Yeah. Hmm.
So, Lori, now I'm going to tell you just a little bit about Lori, and this is a little bit I'm going to tell, and then we're going to hear from Lori. Lori's a content creator and affiliate marketer obsessed with building freedom first income streams. Lori turns blogs, videos, and social posts into passive revenue using systems she's built from the ground up. So she says on her website, if you've ever wanted to make money while you sleep, Lori is here to tell you and show you how it's done. No fluff, just what works. So with that,
Exactly.
welcome, Lori.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It's an
Absolutely.
honor.
So I don't even know where to start. How did you get here? Because here is a really cool place, but I don't know a whole lot about your origin story. Like where you grew up and stuff like that. I know about your brothers and your sister, and because you're pretty transparent with your life
Yeah.
online. But tell me about how you got, like, where you started as a little kid.
I think it's interesting when we actually go back and look at where we are today and look at the past. I'm often catching myself going, I know exactly why I do that. I know exactly why I do that. I know why I'm motivated to do that. And, obviously so much of it comes back from our upbringing. I was brought up with a mother that was married 4 times and single for gaps of that in between. And I pretty much kind of raised my siblings. So I was very much always the provider and the caretaker. I even took care of my mom because she had some mental illness issues, severe mental illness issues. And so I had to grow up really young. And one of my escapes was going off by myself and working very hard at a particular skill. And back then, like I wanted to be the number one flute player in
Yeah.
the band. And so that was my escape is I'm going to practice the flute and I'd go hide in my room and I would practice for hours and hours and hours. That has never left me. And it's been a big part of just who I have become is this mechanism of let me learn this skill at a really high level and work really hard at that. At 17, I wanted to escape my family situation. I got married at 17 years old and was with my first husband for 4 years.
Mhm.
And we had a baby very intentionally. And then he got out of the military and kind of lost his marbles and left. So there I am with my 2-month-old baby or 10-month-old baby. And I moved back in. No, yeah, she was 2 months then. I moved back in with my mom. And 8 months later is when I met what would be my husband of 25 years. And we started building a business from there. So where do you want to go from there?
Where were you? Where were you when you first grew up? Like, where were you when you had your first baby? What part of the
Vegas,
country were you in? It was in
Vegas.
Vegas.
Mhm.
Oh, so you're a
I
Vegas
was
baby.
I was born in Ohio. I was
Okay.
born in Ohio, but my mom got divorced. She came to Vegas to live with her mother who had moved to Vegas following a man here. So we didn't have
Okay.
like a lot of other family, but her mom had wound up here and she got divorced and moved in with her. And that's how we wound up in
Okay.
Vegas. So yeah, I grew up
That's
here.
where I met you. I met you, you were in Vegas. I actually got to do some work in your market center, which was kind of cool. Anyway, so Vegas. And now you said you met your then husband, which you were together for 25 years. And that's a whole story in itself that I know you've been pretty open about, about how you created a last name with him. and some of those were kind of interesting stories. Do you wanna
Like,
share
created
just
a
a
what? A
couple?
last name with him? Is that what you
Yeah,
said?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So so for those of you that don't know, today I am single, empty nester, in entrepreneur, living my own life of freedom, and everything I do is based on being able to make choices. Really, that's the freedom definition for me, is the ability to make choices. I want to choose for myself. I don't want to have to say no because of money, or because I have to be somewhere, or because of appointments, or any of that. And a lot of that has come from the life that I lived while I was married. And I got married the second time I was 21, and he had two little kids and I had my little daughter, and we bonded over the dysfunction of our life.
mhm,
The single parenting, neither one of us really wanted to be divorced. Our significant others left us, and
mhm,
we kind of fell into that. But I did, um, there, obviously, when there's two people that have traumas and in their life, you bring that into the relationship.
mhm,
And I was
mhm,
21 years old and he was 31 years old. And I didn't even know who I was yet. I had no clue what I liked, who I was, who I wanted to be, because I got married at 17 and
right,
molded into what that guy wanted. And so the entire marriage, the entire real big bulk of the first part of the marriage was, he was the boss. He was in
mhm,
charge. It was
mhm,
his, um, it he was the superior. Let's just put it that way.
sure. Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
does that make sense?
This is true
Go
for
ahead.
so many people. I'm betting this is kind of the way momentum takes over for many people's lives. It's just what you do, right? And as
Mhm.
the woman in the relationship, I mean, this is not unusual, Lori. This is kind of the way it's been
Yeah.
a
Well,
lot of
back
people.
in the day, this was how this is just how it was. I mean,
Right.
before many, many moons ago, the man was in charge, the woman was the
Yeah,
wife, and this is
right.
just how it was. So, but I hadn't had I had never had a good father figure in my life. They were all
Mhm,
broken. They were all a mess. They were all, had issues. And so that's what I married, was the
mhm,
same, not that he wasn't a wonderful
mhm,
personality, but he
mhm,
had the same uh negative habits and bad issues that my fathers did.
mhm.
All of them,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know
yeah.
and that's what we tend to do. We kind of tend to wind A lot of us tend to wind up with what we were raised
Mhm,
with, because that's what we know. And
yeah.
so there was a lot of good. I mean, there was a lot of camaraderie, and we were business partners, which I loved, and I miss that. I don't miss being married, and I don't miss him in that way, but I do miss, our whole life was parenting and business together, and we were like this power couple of people. I loved that. I did
Yeah.
like that a lot. Anyway, long story, but I started just becoming. That's the way
Mhm,
I look at it. I started becoming. I got myself well, because I had gone through spells of my own addiction issues, and with medically induced, but still.
mhm,
And I wanted a good life. I wanted to be healthy. I wanted to be whole. I didn't want to be in the casinos gambling, which is what we do in Vegas. I didn't
mhm,
want all of that. And
mhm,
I would go to my husband frequently and tell him, this is what I'm looking for. And he basically just really wanted to stay broken. That's the only way I know how to
mhm,
explain it.
mhm,
And
mhm.
I wanted to go, build. Let's do it. And he was like, can't we just live a slow life? Can't we
Mhm.
just, and part of it's the age difference. Let's be
Yeah,
real,
for sure.
that, because now that I'm 53, I kind of understand a little bit more of where he was at with the, can't we just slow down a little bit?
Yeah,
I get, but that age difference is a big difference. So I
yeah,
couldn't quite see, I wasn't where he was. And I felt like I was just really getting rolling.
yeah.
But one day he basically sat me down at a Mexican restaurant and told me he didn't love me anymore. That's what
Okay.
happened. And
Mhm,
later I found out there was affairs and other things going on that I didn't
mhm,
know about at the time.
mhm,
But he basically told me he didn't love me. And I thought, this is what I thought to myself. This is the moment that everything in my life changed. It wasn't even those words. It was me processing, I am not going to give all of myself, just completely draining myself of all of my resources for somebody that doesn't even love me. I will
mhm,
never do that again. It was just like such a moment of, I choose me now.
mhm.
So that's basically what happened. And then I had to go take my 13-year-old daughter and start life all over again.
Yeah. And you did. And so, as someone who's been watching you for a long time, we've been connected for a long time. I knew this husband you're talking about. I knew the lifestyle, which looked really fun from the outside because
It
you guys
was.
made it look fun, you know? I mean, but there was a lot of chaos in that too. Because what were you doing? You were like performers, kind of, weren't you?
We owned, before we got into real estate, we owned the #1 catering and entertainment company in
Hmm.
Las Vegas.
Hmm.
And it was such an interesting dynamic because he, I was the marketer. I got us all the business. And
Hmm.
he could not have run that business if I didn't do that. But he was the genius behind the scenes, the salesman. He was so salesy, but he could go see a park and he could picture the entire event in his head like I couldn't do. And he didn't forget, like he knew exactly where all the tables were going to go and where all the chairs were going to go. And that was a great skill he had. And so it worked together. We were as broken, it's weird because as broken as we were, we had this amazing work dynamic that was just incredible. And I think if we hadn't had some of the bad habits and things that went along with Vegas and all and just the broke, you know, where we came from and whatnot, it could have been very different because we were best friends. We
Hmm.
really were. We were so for so long. And if whenever we went to a convention or something, if you looked over, we were rubbing each other's shoulders and loving on each other. The fun was real. The love
Yeah.
was real. Like that's
Yeah.
what was so hard about it because it was
Mhm.
like, wow. But I knew when it was happening. I had left years and years prior for because there was a dangerous situation, and I up and left and took my daughter, and that lasted 6 months, and then we got back together. That was
Mm.
1 year before I joined Keller Williams, and we had been separated and then got back together. We got back together. I now am a different person, and
Ah,
I want, let's grow. And he just kind of fell like in this little passive, okay, what do I have to do? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? And that's not good for either one of us. Like he didn't know how to function in this. Now he's the passive man,
mm,
and I'm on stages and I'm being interviewed and I'm up there with Gary Keller, and there he is in the audience, just like being the nice, good husband. And that's what ended up leading to an affair and all that, because he lost his self-esteem.
mm.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
and I
for
can
sure.
see that how hard that must have been for him too. So it was that we just were in different places in our life.
Yeah,
And I think that's what broke us, was that
yeah,
just such differences in what we wanted when we wanted it, that we couldn't figure
yeah,
out how to do that together. And
yeah.
that's what happened.
Timing. Timing.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can see that how the comet came together, right? And everything was just fireworks, and I mean that's what I observed from the outside, and it just looked so fun and great all the time. But you know, that's life, isn't it? That's life on social media. That's life on looking at everybody else and not really seeing the truth. It's like this is what the
Yeah.
shininess looks like.
Here's the thing. It was the truth. It was the truth, but there were other truths also. My highlight reel is never just a highlight reel. It's real, whatever is being shown, but it's kind of almost like you can be fulfilled and still feel like I don't know what the word is. You can be happy and sad at the same time. You really
Hmm.
can. It is
Hmm.
possible to do both. I'm living this absolute amazing life, but I'm sad that I'm missing one of my daughters right now, or this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
But both are true, you see?
Right. 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 Yeah.
And that's what was happening there. Both were true. I loved him.
Sure.
I loved him very much. I loved him the day I left. And it took a
Mm-hmm.
long, long time to get over that.
Mm-hmm.
But I do believe sometimes we have to choose ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We have to. And I'm not going to stay somewhere where I'm told I'm not loved and continue to fight through all of that. So that is what really has led me to live this life today of everything I do is based on, I want to go where I want, when I want, how I want, with who I want. Like if I want to I'm taking my mom on an Alaska cruise in
Yeah.
3 weeks. and we're flying first class, and I got us our own rooms, and we've got our balconies and VIP seating and all the things. That is my why. I want to be able to do
Yeah.
it myself, or I want to be able to
Mhm.
take somebody with me. When
Mhm.
I look at everything I'm doing in my work, I ask myself, is that going to interfere? Is this project, is this new thing I want to touch over here, is that going to interfere with my flow? Is it going to stop me from being able to go somewhere? Is it going to cause angst in this ease, you
Mhm.
know? And
Mhm.
every time when I do start something, I can, like right now I'm working on, so for those that don't know, I'm a content creator. So I make money with digital marketing, affiliate marketing, ad revenue, group coaching, that kind of thing for digital marketing, specifically
Mhm.
Pinterest, blogging, influencer, shoppable video type of marketing. And I interviewed a woman recently who's making about $250,000 doing a fashion YouTube channel. And I've been looking at it going, I'm already in that space. I might as well go be really purposeful and build this other YouTube channel. And it totally makes sense. And it's totally something I can do. So I set myself this plan, knowing better, but I still, okay, I'm going to do it anyway, that I've got to make 2 videos per week. Boom, just gave myself a job. Just, I don't
Mm.
want that.
Mm.
And so the other day, I'm literally in tears in the afternoon, yelling at ChatGPT because I dump all of my mind, soul, and body into ChatGPT to get it off
Mhm.
my chest.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
it,
Yep.
you know, and as I'm saying it all, which is really all coaches anyway, they're just shining back what you're already saying. And as I'm saying it, I'm like, I don't want appointments. Like
Mm.
I'm saying it, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, that's what I did. So
Mm.
instead, I took a step back and said what would it look like if I just made the videos when I'm inspired to make the videos, just like
Mhm.
I do with everything else. Let it be easy. Let it be
Yeah.
part of the flow. If I want to make a video that day of all the things I got that week and do an unboxing, great. If I want to talk about my divorce, great. If I want to talk about how I got my daughter into college, great. If I don't want to that week, that's okay too.
Yeah.
And take the price tag. Like I was telling myself, oh, I want that to be a $250,000 a year add-on
Mhm.
income project. No, I any way I've ever made money in my entire life has never had a dollar assigned to it. It's been
Mm.
based on, this is what I'm enjoying. This is where my energy wants to go. This is what I'm loving. Boom, that's where the money is. It's never
Exactly.
because, oh, I got to go do that project and I want to make that much money. So I got to have that many appointments to get to that many contracts, to get to that many closings. That's just never
Mhm.
been me.
You know, that's kind of what I really loved about you. Without knowing it, I would never have been able to articulate it the way you just did when I first met you, because I was in this world of real estate too, having never been in real estate before. I was recruited to that team leader role because I had a coaching business. I didn't know real estate, right? I knew people. I knew I knew the things I knew. And when I was in that space, I lost myself in that space for the reasons you just described. X number of calls to get X number of appointments to get, blah. It was all about numbers. Everything was about numbers in that world. And I think it probably still is. But when I met you and you had all this success and the things you were doing, it felt different to me, even if I couldn't articulate it. And that's just something that I know that I know that I know deep down, but I've never been able to show it. You're showing it now. You're showing it in your face, to be honest. I mean, you're showing it in the way you look, in the way you shine. I love watching the things you're doing with your house. By the way, I want to get to that because you built this house that we need to talk about. You didn't start off here, although it was always in you, I think. It was always in you to be who
Yeah.
you are right now. You've never been fake about that, but it's like you're blossoming. And every time I watch you, there's a little bit more blossom. And so let's go back to the story a little bit when because you look different. I mean, everything about you is different. You were probably a little bit broken. I mean, I know financially there was no real secret about that, right? You'd never owned property yourself and you were a real estate agent, right?
Right.
So can
Well,
you go
my
back?
my husband and I owned property.
Okay.
We
But
had a we had
yourself.
a house go to we had a house go to foreclosure from gambling,
Oh,
but we did own property.
okay. So yeah, the gambling was a problem for you both,
It
right?
we lost. $2.3 million in the casinos over a 3-year span.
Mm.
That's how much of a problem it was. So I come from, my parents were both my parents, which parents? My
Yeah.
mom and my fourth dad that ended up adopting us. Crazy stories, but they were both gamblers. And they wound up in Gamblers Anonymous. And I remember one morning, it was Christmas morning. It was Christmas morning. We woke up, all of us running out there to the Christmas tree. We were so super excited. There's a note that says so and so is coming to get you and is going to bring you to the coffee shop at Arizona Charlie at the casino.
Mm.
And we have a surprise for you. So now we're thinking it's a Christmas surprise. Oh my gosh. Well, but it was so unsettling not having that Christmas morning. So we go and we sit at the table, and the lady puts us at the table, says, your parents will be over in a little bit. And literally I get grossed out thinking about it. They handed us all a big old bucket full of quarters, each one of us. This was back in the day when casinos spit out quarters instead of everything. And that was our surprise. And there was probably $150 in each one.
Mhm.
And we sat there for 3 hours, 4 hours eating breakfast at this casino, waiting for mom and dad to finish gambling. Well, anyway, when I met my husband, we met in a bar gambling. That's how we met. I
Mhm.
wasn't gambling. I was 21. I hadn't even started a gambling habit yet. I was 21. He was sitting at a poker machine, and my mom said, go talk to that guy at the bar. And I'm like, ew, he's old. I remember I'm 21,
Mhm.
he's 31.
Right, right,
And
right.
she's like, I just have a feeling you need to go talk to that guy. And so I kind of went over and sat next to him, and I made some comment, and he looked at me like nasty daggers because he's losing his money. Anyway, long story. That's how we ended up getting together, was seeing each other multiple
Mhm.
times in that bar casino.
Mm.
And so he already had the habit. I come from the habit. I already had
Mhm.
kind of a compulsive, not addictive, but compulsive behavior, 6 hours of flute playing to be number one
Right.
loudest. You combine those energies, you put me in a casino now, and wait a minute, I can do this, this, and this, and I can win us the money or whatever. Then I picked up the habit too.
Sure.
I don't have it. Here's what's funny. I haven't gambled a day since my divorce. It's
Yeah.
not even actually like part of me, but it was
Mhm.
then as much part of me as it was him during that in that environment, which was
Yeah.
bizarre. I don't even know. Oh yeah. So I don't know how we got on the gambling
That's
topic, but
okay. No, that's
so that was when we had the catering company. We had this gorgeous catering truck that we used to do craft service for movies, and we would do drive around and do lunches and all that. We had to sell it to pay our
Mhm.
bills. It was always like we had so much money, we're just sitting on cash everywhere, or we're
Mhm.
completely destitute
Mhm.
because we
Mhm.
just lost everything in the casino.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was like, oh, that it just felt so gross and heavy and bad.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
that was what the first time I left him, that's what it was kind of over. I was like, I
Yeah.
can't do this anymore. I don't want to. I need to breathe. I feel so,
Yeah.
it's just so dark and heavy.
Mhm.
And there were moments when I just didn't even want to go on anymore. It was just so
Mhm.
bad. So
Mhm.
so when I went back the second time, we no longer gambled. And that was one of
Ah,
my was we just don't do it, period.
yeah.
And we just don't do it.
Yeah.
And he never stopped, but I did. I
Right.
just
Right.
didn't want
Well, and I
any of
think
that.
I've noticed that in just watching you and observing you, that the compulsion you have now feels like it's almost filling your own bucket. So that if you do give, because you give so generously to your brothers, I mean, I watch how your family, your
Yeah.
daughters, and there's just an overflow that you're giving from, which is different than giving from your own bucket, I think. Because if you give from your own bucket, it gets depleted, and then I can understand how we would get resentful. They're taking it from me. It's a mindset,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And you're
I,
not
I
doing.
I carry a lot of that resentment issue still to this day, and I will do it with anytime I feel taken advantage of. That's one of my big icks. Like but when I'm with people that I love and they're loving, I feel like they're grateful
Mm,
for. I don't mean like, oh, thank you, Lori. I
yeah.
don't mean that. I just mean I can see the joy in them and how much they're appreciating the experience. And they don't all of them and haven't always. but most of them do. And it's been life-changing for them. I took my older brother and younger brother to Alaska. Well, I took 7 of us that year to
Yeah.
Alaska, all on that I paid for. But my older brother wound up having this epiphany and wound up moving to Seattle a couple months later because he was like, I need more of in life. Like it
Mm.
sparked something. And he just moved to Huntington Beach for this. It set him on this path. Then my little brother, while he was there, had just gotten divorced and he was trying to figure himself out. And he's like, would you guys mind if I didn't go on the such and such tour with you? But I went mountain biking with this other tour. It was his first time going off on his own. That sparked this whole pattern in him afterwards. And so I always say, I feel like I was put on this earth to show people what's possible
Yeah.
and for people that I care about to provide experiences they wouldn't already have. And I've
Mm.
seen how it changes them and the things and they see like my little brother came home and immediately started adding like affiliate marketing to his business because he was like, oh, I see what Lori means now. I see what this looks like when you don't have to, when you can just go grocery shopping and not look at how much the meat costs and how much,
Yeah.
because I can't remember the last time I looked at a price tag in a grocery store. I just go grocery shopping. And
Yeah.
it's foreign to me sometimes watching, and I don't mean that to brag because I don't have millions of dollars and I still have
Yeah.
college loans for my daughter,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's a choice that I have made. These are the things that are important to me. And that cash flow, whenever those are the things that matter. I don't want to make choices based on dollar
Yeah.
amounts on ever. I just don't want to have to do that. And so I don't know.
So I did you start with coaching first? Is that how you first started? Because affiliate marketing came later, didn't it? Or was it, am I?
So we were in real estate,
Yeah.
and the first thing I did was teach a paid class. That was the
Okay.
first money making activity that happened outside of real estate at the time.
Hmm.
And the first class, we sold out 100 people in Florida. And then I used the money from that Florida trip to take my husband and kids to Disney World for the week. That was my first taste of, oh, this could be exciting, funding the life. What do we always say? Funding the life by design. That's
Right.
exactly what this kind of did. I love teaching anyway. And then it kind of fed that. So that started. And then I ended up building a course, the Ballen method, off of that, writing a book that kind of went with it. And then a couple of years after that, somebody had mentioned affiliate marketing. I'd never heard of it. And I think this was 2013. And it was actually a tech trainer with KW that I really liked. And he said, hey, did you realize that you could get a commission every month off of people signing up for that software that they keep signing up for that you keep talking about? And I was like,
Yeah.
what? And he explained it to me. I go, oh, that sounds so, my moral, oh, that sounds so spammy. That sounds so unethical. That's how I felt about it at first, like,
Yeah.
ugh. And then the more it was introduced to me and the more I saw it, the more I was like, oh, it's just a byproduct of, I'm already talking about teaching people
Hmm.
how to use this software. So just if they sign up now, I get a commission. And so that's what started the affiliate marketing. And what happened was every time I would teach, whether it was YouTube or a live class, or I did webinars every month for free, just about,
Hmm.
I would, whatever software I was teaching, now I would go partner with the software and get an affiliate link. I never just promoted software because they paid me or because they sponsored it. But if I was gonna use it anyway and gonna
Right.
teach it anyway, I would sign up for it.
Sure.
So we would have these weekly meetings at my apartment after my divorce, and my marketing team at that time was my oldest daughter, my older brother, and my younger brother. So it was all family sitting around my tiny little 700 square foot apartment after my divorce. And my older daughter would bring the numbers in. And one day she brought the numbers in, and she hands everybody a sheet. She's kind of reading, this is how much we made off of real estate, da da da. And I had started building websites, and this is how much we made off of the websites. And then I looked down and I'm like, there must be a typo down here. And she's like, what do you mean? And I said, it says affiliate marketing, $117,000. And this was for a 12-month span. And she goes, yeah. I go, wait a minute. We hit 6 figures in affiliate marketing as a byproduct that I'm not even trying to do.
Mhm.
That was the moment, because this is what I love anyway.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and honestly, the truth is, I'm sitting around that kitchen table with my family crying. They're crying.
Mhm.
No, none of us wanted to be there. I'm stressed, trying to be this leader that everybody
Mhm.
expects me to be. And I could never be good enough for them.
Mm.
Never. It was always, I'm too strict, or I expect too big of results, or I'm not enough. I'm not enough. I'm not enough. I'm not enough
Mhm.
as a leader. That's how it felt
Mhm.
every time I sat at that
Mhm.
kitchen table, no matter what I did. Look, I'll start crying, talking about that's a
Yeah,
big pain for me. And
yeah,
so I knew that I was going to start moving this in another direction,
yeah.
probably, and really start doubling down on that affiliate marketing. So I told the whole team, I'm moving right here. All my attention is going to affiliate marketing. That is where
Mm.
I'm going. You guys can bounce around and do whatever. That is where I'm going.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
and slowly but surely, as I began to follow my joy and move away from the pain,
Yeah,
I started
yeah.
moving things aside. And I ended up finding my older daughter a job. I offered her half the company. She didn't want it.
Mm.
That's a long story, but she didn't want it.
Mhm.
So I helped her find a job with my best friend at the time, Debbie, who ran our market center.
Mhm.
And she hired her even for more money. So I helped position her in a really good, because she said to me, Mom, I don't want a business. I want a 9 to 5 job. So
Okay.
I helped her get that. And then I gave my older two brothers the digital marketing company that builds
Mm.
websites. They didn't have to buy it. I gave it to them, but I did hold a 10%, like whatever you guys make, I want 10% of it. Just, I thought
Mhm.
it was going to go under, to tell you the truth. I didn't think it would keep going. And I was like, that's it. Otherwise, you can do whatever you guys want to do with it. And I went all in on affiliate marketing, and
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
never looked back. And I have been
right.
happier. I was born for this. I don't know what it is. I just love it. I just love it.
So you were born for this. I totally see that in the way you've designed your life and how open you are with it. So you built a house. You
Yeah.
built you built your dream house with your dream pool.
It's so crazy because, oh, that one really chokes me up.
Mhm.
When I got after my divorce and I moved into that apartment, I'm a big believer in manifestation,
Mhm.
and really setting your target on things that you want in life, but getting in touch with what that would feel like to
Mhm.
have that thing. So in my little apartment, I would go float out in our public pool, which I hated being around all those other people. And I would lay there in this public pool. I would watch out the window, and then when nobody was at the pool, I'd run to the pool really quick. And as soon as somebody would show up, I'd leave. That's just kind of
Okay.
was my MO, right? So
Yep.
I'd lay there and I would picture my own pool. Like,
Mhm.
what would it feel like? But I will say this, in my dream, I pictured I would get married again, and I
Mhm.
never dreamed I'd still be alone. I figured it would probably be, but it wasn't the husband I was ever thinking about. It was the pool. Like, it
Mm.
was the, and I never thought, but I did not attach, like, okay, in 5 years when my daughter goes to college, I'll buy a house and build a pool. It wasn't that. It was more just like, what would it feel like to have
Mhm.
freedom, to not have to peek out there and run out there? And so what had happened was my little brother moved to this little town called Boulder City with his ex-wife many, many years ago. And I was crushed when he moved here because it was only 45 minutes away, but I didn't drive 45 minutes. So I knew that was the beginning of a separation, probably.
Mhm.
And then one day, my mom and I were coming out to his house for Christmas in 2021. It would have been it was during COVID, 2020, 21. And it was Christmas, and the house across the street from my little brother had a for sale sign. I swear this is a universe God thing. I don't know what, but I look at the sign. I look at my mom, and I say, "Mom, look at this. You could live across the street from our brother." She's like, "What?" And I don't even know where these words are coming out of my mouth. Why am I saying this? I didn't even have that close of a relationship with my mom at the time. We had been estranged for a few years and we're just getting talking again. And I was like, yeah, you could buy this house. No way. Right. And I go into my little brother and I said, hey, how would you like it if mom lived across the street from you? And I thought he was going to say no way. And he goes, oh man, I'd love it. I go, you would?
Wow.
He goes, yeah, she could be around the kids. She could help babysit. I could help take care of her and see her. And so I get chills thinking about it. Between my little brother and I, we got her the house.
Mhm.
And she's still working at home. She has like a little at home job, so she helps cover monthly. But we did all the down payments and all the everything, and it's in our name, but it's her house forever. You know what I mean? She can do whatever she wants with it, and she does. And we're always fixing it up for her. And Jeff takes care of the lawn for her and all that. Anyway, so right before the day we put that house on under contract, and oh my gosh, I was just putting my kid in college. I had been divorced. This was crazy. I actually sold my stocks to get my mom the house.
Mm,
And because I had done some really good investing by instinct, I didn't even know, and I turned 10,000 into 50,000, and so I
mhm.
had it, and so I cashed out part of it, got all mom's, and then my little brother said, "Hey, Lori, there's a new build down the street. It's all dirt. They haven't started building yet. There's a few model homes," and I immediately shut him down. Jeff, I am not a small town girl. I am not moving to that town. I'm not going to fit there, which I still don't think I do 100%. But he's like, will you just come look? Again, universe thing. Where is this
Yeah,
coming from? Right. I just put my mom's house under contract. This is like ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. I go in and I can remember it like I'm sitting in the room. It's so crazy because I actually designed my house based on the model home that I first saw. And I
yeah.
walked into the hallway and then I saw this big open front room and I was like, I felt it in my whole body. This is my house. This is my
Mm,
house. I didn't know why or how or anything. This is my house. And then I opened the big walk-in pantry and I knew I wasn't going to have kids here, but I just attached to it for some reason. I
mhm.
said, that is my house. So when we walked out, my little brother calls our lender. We're both real estate agents, and
Yeah.
calls our lender and he says, "Listen, Lori wants to." I was scared, and he's like, "We just put because she's funding my mom's house." I was, she's
Right.
mom's. I don't want to throw a wrench in mom's house. Now I didn't even know how I was going to qualify for that. It's all going in my name, you
Right.
know. And I'm independent. I don't have a job. I'm just a business owner. And she says, "Well, Jeff, you know what? Based looking at Lori's P&Ls, I actually think she could do this." And I was just jaw on the ground, couldn't even believe it. So I get on the phone with her. She says, "You cannot put a thing on it," because I was debt free at the time. I had worked really hard to get there.
Mm.
She goes, "You cannot put a dollar on a credit card. You cannot drop under your monthly income." And I'm an independent like, you
Yeah.
never know. You just
Yeah.
never know. And it was going to take 6 months to build the house.
Yep.
So I knew I had this in mom's house was going to close in 3 months, then mine would close in six. I had to do both houses. It was more than $1 million worth of houses, which in Vegas is big money. I know that's not
Yeah.
big money everywhere else. And I'm doing it as a single woman on an independent contractor.
Right.
Thank God I had put myself on payroll. I had done some really smart things based on
Mm.
watching YouTube. I had
Mm,
studied
wow.
finance a little bit because I was married. I didn't know how to do money.
Sure.
He did money. So I was
Yeah.
trying to figure out like, oh, how do I invest? And what if I do that? And do I open a health savings account? This happens. And if all YouTube, all of it, just
Wow.
learning these new skills. And it just unfolded. And here we are now, 4 years
Mm.
later. We closed in 2021. July in 2021 was when I closed on my house 4 years ago. And
Wow.
I couldn't believe it when they allowed me to fund a pool on top of it. I had to close the
Yeah.
house first.
Right.
Then I had to and I went all out for the pool. This is like a $90,000 pool.
It's
And
beautiful.
it's my happy place. And watching them the day they came out and did the first dig, and then I'd sit and watch them put all the pieces together and do all the framing and put all it was one of the best experiences of my entire life to watch this my dream
Mm.
be built right in front of my eyes. And I would
Yeah.
sit out there sometimes and I would lay out and it was still dirt. It was big dirt thing. And I would pull out my lawn chair like this is going to be my pool. So now I'm just like, oh, it's amazing. What's funny is I'm not even attached though physically to the property. I would move again and I would do it all
Mm.
again.
Mm.
What I'm attached to is the lifestyle and
Yeah.
to the dream that I built, being able
Yeah.
to do all this. And it's now I've got this 4-bedroom house. Every bedroom, like this room is my office, obviously, and then I have um a front room that is my showroom for all of my influencer marketing stuff. And I've got all these spaces that are like
Yeah.
they're all mine. Everything is
Yeah.
mine. Like
Yeah.
it's a cool thing to have.
It's so fun to see that too, because she's not kidding when she says she set up one of those bedrooms that has window or mirrors all the way around it and lights and everything, and you can
Closet.
just show whatever you want to promote. And it's not even like, I don't think, I remember one time you bought like 4 different sweaters. I mean, 4 of the same sweater in 4 different colors or something like that. And then you
Yeah.
try them
Uh-huh.
on and you show, this is why I love this sweater. And it doesn't feel to me like you're ever selling something to make money. You're selling
Right.
something that you love, whatever it
Right.
is. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell, at least I can tell when I watch you, I can see you'll say things like, so before I get, sometimes I assume this is what you're thinking to yourself, before I get into that world of, you know, being in front of the mirrors, I'm going to go float in the pool. And I'm going to show you that I'm floating in the pool. And I'm going to take my camera and I'm going to show you my legs so you
Yep.
can see that I'm floating in the pool, because you're
Yep.
demonstrating your life.
Yeah.
And I love that you're doing that so openly, because there are people like me who I kind of stalk you in kind of a way, because it's just so fun to see how your joy comes through the screen. And that's what I love about what you're doing and how you're teaching it now. So let's jump into that, because you're actually, if you look at Lori's website, there's just a list of things you're teaching and ways that you're helping people do exactly what you're doing. Because you're just giving everything to everybody, aren't you? You're teaching everything you know. It sounds like.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah.
So,
I have a YouTube channel where I basically teach everything that I do for free on YouTube, but I do have a structured group coaching program where basically anybody that wants to do affiliate marketing, whether that's in a blog format or they want to do the influencer. So I look at my affiliate side as 2 different businesses. I have the affiliate side, which is primarily software, where I make 6 figures promoting software, teaching people how to use software. And then the other is influencer marketing. Those are the 2 pieces that are in the affiliate marketing pocket. And some people say, I never want to get on camera. I
mm,
want to blog all day. I want to sit at my computer all day. I want to make best of lists, or I want to do this. Then they fall into that and I teach that. But then there's other ones that say, you know what, I could review products for Amazon, things that I'm buying around my house anyway. I might as well tell people about this drink cup that I love so much
right,
and get
right.
commissions on it every day. That's what we do with Amazon influencer. Some people want to be a TikTok shop affiliate, and I teach that. And it's a great opportunity as well. Some people just want to do YouTube, and I teach that. So it's just kind of like this whole little influencer side. And that's primarily what the focus is there.
That's so great. And I love that. Again, I'm going to repeat, it's not about the numbers. It's not about, you're not doing it so that you can say, I'm going to get, 25% of my revenue from this and 50% from this. And
What I do want to say, I I am into the numbers. I do my own now. I'm really good at my own finances and P&Ls and all of that. And I use QuickBooks myself, and I'm always in there running first quarter reports. As a matter of fact, anytime I start getting off on a little bit of a tangent, like this isn't working, like my emotions will say this isn't working, I go to my P&Ls and I'll run a current P&L and I'll go, really, Lori, it's not working. And then I'll look at those numbers and go, it's working. You're just feeling like it's not fast enough. It's not big enough. It's
mm,
not whatever enough. But what I
mm,
don't do is say, if I make 5 videos a day for 30 days and it make this amount of money with this much conversion, then I'll make enough to pay my bills. I'm not
mm,
doing any of that.
yeah.
That's the big difference. So I'm into the numbers. I'm
Okay.
just not building my business based on now I'm just continuing with yesterday I fed my P&L to Chat GPT, and I said, I want you to really, let's get real granular with this. Let's break this really down, that if I were only to spend all of my time on 3 activities. It was interesting what it ended up coming out, because here's what I did. I kind of said, I have my best energies in the morning. I wake up with bells on. I'm that
Mm,
girl. And I'm
mhm,
so excited for life, and everything I have so much opportunity. But as the day goes on, especially at 53, my energy tends to drop. It's and
mm,
then income doubts and income other things.
mm,
And the later the night gets, the darker it gets, which is why I try to go to
mm,
sleep by 8 so that I don't feel that. That's when
mhm,
I start doubting things. It's just this, it
mm,
always happens
mhm,
that way. It's just normal for me. So I put all that into ChatGPT, and we were talking about this basically after looking at all of my numbers, besides coaching and digital products, which that's a separate 6-figure business. ChatGPT said, girl, you just need to be on video. You just need to be on video,
Okay.
whether it's YouTube, whether it's TikTok, whether it's you're just talking that day, whether it's whatever, video, video,
Mm,
video. And it was such clarity. The numbers showed why.
mm,
And I was like, okay, so what if every afternoon, instead of getting in my pajamas, like I tend to do, and sitting on my computer at 3 o'clock, go play, and I call it play.
mm,
What if I go play in the video room and I just let whatever comes my way comes my way? Would it be that big of a deal to put on a little makeup, make sure my hair is fresh in the afternoon, and spend a couple hours every day just doing whatever video I feel like making
mm,
without any job or requirement? And if I don't feel like it one day, I don't.
yeah.
But could I do that just to amplify that? Yes. So that's where the numbers do come in for me.
Mm. So what I hear in that is take care of the discipline. You take care of the discipline. And in this way, I mean discipline following your heart, being really intentional about that, and the numbers will take care of themselves. So it's not like
Yes.
you're not being responsible with the numbers, but you're not being numbers led, it sounds like. You're being heart led.
Yes, I take inspired action. Those are my words. Everything I do in my day is inspired action. But this is what people don't, what you just hit it on the head. I don't know if it's really discipline. My sister says, is it really that you're disciplined, Lori, or is it that you have a fire in your belly that just makes you
Mm.
want to do things? And that's a good point, right?
Yeah.
Is it because I don't ever for discipline to me is going into my gym, which I
Oh,
do. I built a
which you
home.
do because
I
you have
built a
a
home
really
gym.
great you have a
Yeah,
really great machine that you are
I,
promoting.
I do. I built a home gym, but that's discipline. Going into
Yeah.
my gym, taking my walk in the morning, like those are things that I kind of have to go, okay, Lori, let's go. That's
Mm,
discipline. I will
mm,
say that everything I do with work, I can't wait to get to it. So there is a
mm,
point to that. But I do take massive action. So just this morning, for example, when I woke up, I had my coffee. I was looking at here again. I do look at numbers. I do strategy sessions on most mornings, so I'm kind of looking over my numbers this morning. And what I was doing was I was measuring RPMs, which is how much ad revenue I make for every 1,000 views. And I was
okay.
comparing how much do I make on TikTok? How much do I make on YouTube? How much do I make on Instagram? How much do I make on Pinterest? Ad revenue for every 1,000 views on each of these things. Just kind of what I was trying to do is Pinterest really worth it? That was my question of
Mhm,
the day. Well, the answer was yes. The numbers showed the answer was yes.
mhm,
So immediately after that, once I get up, now I'm going to start my day after about an hour and a half strategy session in the morning or content creation, whatever I'm doing. I came in here to my office and I made a YouTube video
yeah,
teaching people why Pinterest is still worth it, right? Inspired action. I discovered
mm,
this thing. I was excited about it. I came in and made my YouTube video. I didn't say on Tuesday, I have to make
right,
a YouTube
right.
video. Oh, what am I going to make? How am I going to come up with that topic?
Mm,
Inspired action.
mhm,
By the time I got on today's call, I've already exercised, I've already swam, I've already made 3 TikTok videos, I've already published a new blog, a thing on Pinterest. I'm doing the podcast. Like I'm doing more than many people do in a week. Okay. But
right,
it's
right.
inspired action.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah,
what
yeah,
did I review on TikTok? Well, I was putting on makeup today and I really liked one of the brands sent me this new tinted moisturizer. And I was like, oh, I like it. So I made a video. I put in this hair thing gel today that made my hair feel like it was extra thick. I loved it. I made a
yeah,
video, put
yeah,
it on TikTok. That's how it works. I put on an outfit, this kimono, I'll put it on Amazon later. I'll do an Amazon video because I love the kimono. And
yeah.
it's just that. It's a flow, it's ease, that's the life.
Well,
I love it.
what I hear in that when you say inspired action, it's like we talked about this earlier, but either living your life by default or living your life by design. And it's not even necessarily, it sounds to me like you're not always designing it, you're allowing it. And
Yeah.
you're you're in the flow of it. And I think that to some people, when I use the word allow, it feels passive to people. And they're like, but you can't just sit back and allow things. Well, yes, you actually can. Lori
Well,
Ballen is doing it right here and showing us how it works.
are you familiar with Abraham Hicks?
Yeah, very much. Very
Yeah.
much.
So I'm a big believer and practicer of spirituality in general, which is
Mhm.
for those, not a religious thing, it's an energy
Mhm.
thing, it's a spiritual thing, it's a universal thing. And that is that is exactly the main message there, is just allow, get out of your own way and just allow things. Now, you still have to be an active participant,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
You can't
Yeah.
just sit on your couch and eat bonbons all day long for days on end without any vision, without any
Mhm.
dream, without any manifestation, without any emotional pull. But
Mhm.
if you know in your heart, this is what I want, and you start getting those energies and feelings. And yes, I do believe there is some sort of action. Obviously, if you look at my life, I'm taking massive action, but I don't feel like I'm working. I,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't ever feel like, even when I'm doing my group coaching program those days, I don't feel like I'm working. The
Yeah.
only time I feel like I'm working is when I give myself a damn job. I
Yeah.
do that a lot. I went to a TikTok influencer event. I'm one of the top beauty influencers on TikTok, which is hilarious at 53 years old to me. I never dreamed that would happen. They invited me to this event in California, so I drove down there. When I got home, what did I do? First, they gave us all this free stuff. So I had bags and bags and bags of free stuff. So I wanted to get those all up. And then I said, oh, I'm going to make 10 videos every day because so and so at the beauty influencer event is making more money than me and doing more than me. And she's, making 10 videos a day. So I have to do 10 videos a day. So for 30 days, I did 10 videos a day, only to prove that that really didn't make me more money. So it was
Mm.
a good test. But
Mhm.
I could, after the 30 days, I said, okay, now what do I want? What do I want to do now? I don't want a job. So
Mhm.
I'm going to go back to the way I do TikTok, which is inspired action. When
Yeah.
I have something I want to talk about. So I do bathing suits. I'm going out to the pool anyway. I do, brands often will send me pool floats or rafts or, things like that. I'll jump in it. How does it work? This is what it is. I'm
Yeah.
going to the
Yeah.
pool anyway. It makes perfect sense.
Okay.
Here's the swimsuit, here's the pool float. So that's the difference.
So this is so great. I love all of this. I just have one question. I don't want to take up too much of your time, and much more of your time. How did you get from the start to where you are now? Because it's only been not that long. Like, how did you get to the point where people were sending you stuff?
Okay, so that it's been 18 months since I
Okay.
got this is all from TikTok. It's been
Hmm.
18 months, and I've only been an Amazon influencer for a year, believe it or not. It feels like a lifetime, all this new
Mm.
site stuff. But TikTok was super fast for a few reasons. One, my timing was impeccable. I
Mhm.
was I didn't know what TikTok was. Everybody kept telling me to get on TikTok. I didn't want to. I got on there because I adopted these two kittens and I thought they were adorable. And I wanted to show kittens somewhere that wasn't a business on one of my business accounts. So I started a TikTok to show cats. That's what happened. I was making some videos. They really weren't going anywhere. Then I started dating for the first time after my divorce. And I talked about it on TikTok. Why? Because I'm
Yeah.
an open book and I just do that. Viral, 2.3 million views.
Mm.
Boom. Backed it up with another video, also went viral. Now all of a sudden I've got 10,000 subscribers, and TikTok sent me a thing saying, hey, do you want to be part of our TikTok shop affiliate program? And I'm like, wait, affiliate? I know affiliate marketing. What do you mean?
Yeah.
But I'd never done fashion, beauty, fashion, none of that.
Mm.
I'm a software affiliate, but I
Mm.
understand the principles of it. So I bought 3 items. I bought a makeup palette, 4 items. I bought a makeup palette, a pair of jeans, a jewelry mirror, and a cat toy. All 4 went viral. They all went viral. It was fourth quarter. I didn't know what I was doing, which is part of the magic of it, I think, because it was so natural. You know what I mean? I'm just, this is what
Uh-huh.
I'm buying, is what I'm doing.
Uh-huh.
And I made $47,000 in
Oh my gosh.
November, December, in my first year as a TikTok shop affiliate. Well, after that, everything was free, but
Right.
basically,
Right.
you know.
Okay.
So that's kind of how that happens, is once you become and now Amazon's doing it. I'm getting messages from Amazon sellers every day. Can we send you?
Okay.
Can we send you? So
So
I'm
it
getting like,
started with some of it started with karaoke and short shorts and dancing and hat.
yeah,
I mean, I was watching you. I
that was
saw.
all part of the TikTok feed. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't do as much of that anymore. Um, I do have spin-off channels, and on one I'm doing a lot of travel, more life,
Mm.
but I'm just not doing karaoke and short shorts right at the moment. When I do, I'll
Right.
probably put those back on the
When it feels right, when you feel
yeah,
inspired to take that action, you'll just put it out there.
yeah.
Lori, this is just such a joy. You are a joy. And I hope all of you who are watching this, all I think I have 74 followers. I've been on for 6 seasons, so I don't know how to do promotion very well, Lori. I might need to take some of your classes. But if anybody's hearing this, and by the way, you please use this for your own use as well. But
Thank
what's the best way to get a hold of you, Lori, if somebody wants more information?
Well, I would say, gosh, there's so many ways to reach me. Um, it's funny you said that because I've not been asked that question in the longest time. Probably finding me on Facebook under Lori Ballen is still a really good way. Lori at loriballen.com, ballenpublishing.com. I've got so many .coms that I don't
Oh,
know where
you
to
do.
send you to.
I
The
know. Well, I think
ballenmethod.com.
if they go to just loriballen.com, I know everything's there. I can look at
Yeah,
blueprint coaching courses, build your stand
yep.
store, TikTok shop, tonal
There you
digital weight
go.
training system, right? It's
There
all
you
there.
go. There you
So
go.
if you want to find Lori, she's pretty easy to find. I've talked to my friends about you already. I have a couple people that I know have started following you. So this is a great way to live the life you really want to live and stop having to be at the beck and call of a clock or, whatever. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being an employee because if you love what you do, apparently it's true, Lori. If you love what you do, you don't have to work another day in your life.
That's
So.
exactly right. I just say follow your joy. If your joy
Mm,
is a 9 to 5 job you love going to, follow your joy. If whatever that is, it's
yeah,
it's not going to be the same for any of us. But if you
right.
really identify what brings you pain and try to move yourself away from that, and what brings you joy, move yourself towards that, regardless of the dollar. The
Mm.
money shows up, the life shows up, the people show up, the means show up,
It's
it does.
science. It's science, right? It's
It
science.
is.
We attract who we are, and some of that is just the way energy works, energy, vibration, and frequency. So
You got
take
it.
it from Lori. Thank you, my
Yeah.
friend. It's been a joy to be with you.
All right. Thank you for having me.
You bet. And everybody, as always, just go find a way to get real this week because look what will happen when you get real. Lori has shown us a really great example of that. So I'll talk to you again. Thanks, everybody.